Model Railroad Chizhiberg City is a diorama I made almost 2 decades ago. I photographed the diorama, left it to my relative, and never saw it again after moving back to my hometown in 2010. That leaves me with only still images of the work. When I made a video for the Chizhiberg diorama, I stated I would reshoot it in video if I ever had a chance to see it again. Recently I made a trip back to my hometown where I reshot awful lot of old works in video. Then came a family event that added an extra stop in the States, giving me an opportunity to finally reshoot Chizhiberg in video. Whatever not fixed to the diorama was removed, so I will need to bring trains and street vehicles for the reshoot. I wouldn't bet on trains being able to run because back then trains already had issues running due to poorly implemented tracks, so I just need static trains. The highlight of the diorama is more about the lighting effect. Regular long trains would look absurd on the diorama that has narrow curved tracks, so I quickly assemble a set of short, street tram type of train which I bought in Tokyo and have kept in that box for 7 years. Evidently this particular kit was made in 2014 when I relocated to Las Vegas. A time in life good enough to make me nostalgic upon seeing the year, but doesn't excuse why I didn't think of reshooting the diorama in video while I was there. I have problem closing off the side panels and the roof. Not being able to read Japanese, I can't figure out what's wrong. But again, I should be able to read the diagram. I don't worry because I know it will eventually be resolved by force, if not tape. LAS is the code of my destination Las Vegas Airport. LAX is the code of Los Angeles Airport. Notice how almost identical they both are? That's why I am driving this 283 miles / 455 kilometer difference on my own rental car. I am excited to see the diorama which I haven't seen for more than 10 years. Let's get the props and head to my relative's place. It still has the original cover on but with a thick layer of dusts. A little bit of background story while I set it up. I built this diorama in Houston where I used to live. The project began in 2003, taking about 6 months to complete. I had been looking forward to building a serious model train diorama for a long time, so I put extraordinary efforts which will be addressed as we wander through the city. Fast forward. We were leaving Houston for good in 2010, so I gave this diorama to my relative, saying they can do whatever with it. They kept it and brought it along to their new place in Vegas. And it has been stored on top of a fridge ever since. I joined my relative for 2 years not long after they moved to Vegas but never thought of reshooting the diorama. Heck, I didn't even bother taking a look at it as it was within my reach. So here I am, filming this diorama under improvised garage lighting right on the floor with no proper setup. Not long enough. Have to drag it closer to the outlet. See? That's how improvised it is. Let's get to the fun part. I'm a bit glad that the interior lights managed to survive over time. Sadly the street lamps are not working. Those smaller lamps are a major factor to the atmosphere across the diorama. I don't have the means to check and fix it, so this is the best it gets. When I planned this diorama, I tried to make the landscape whatever angle you take a look from. There will always be points of interest, spots with an accent, not just repeating buildings and objects indifferently. Pedestrian placement was planned with considerations. While there are folks walking along, minding their own business, there are some that seem to interact with one another, creating a lively street dynamic. Oops, it wasn't there before. One of my hobby friends worked as a regional officer for this restaurant. During a hobby exchange, she gave me some restaurant vouchers. I advertised for her restaurant here in return. Now looking at this again, I can't help but find that all the residents are cleaning right at this moment simultaneously. Once see it, you can't unsee it. Look! Even the one uphill is cleaning as well. Besides default sidewalk stuff like trees, street lamps, and phone booths, which are kinda irrelevant nowadays, I further added signs, advertisements, and decorative plants for extra lifelikeliness. If it's a boat, it's way too fancy. If it's a yacht, it would be in the scale of Z. I love this corner. The fountain, the stairs leading to the watermill, and the hill where the tracks reside. There's actually a door to the stairs but can't be seen in this shot. There's also a blockage preventing entry under the bridge. Unfortunately, the road surface didn't age well, but the banners on the lamp still hang. I'm surprised because that's just paper with tiny joint to the pole. This is my favorite spot to go if I live there. I took a picture of this spot with an oldie truck, and it yells nostalgia. Guess what? As I come across this corner of the base, I suddenly realize that the smaller lamps are powered by batteries, not the track control unit. I can simply pop in 2 batteries to light them up, but I can't because I have long gone away from the diorama. I just talk in present tense so that you feel like you're in a tour with me on a drunk drone. Now that I mentioned it, some shots do feel like a drone shot. Watch out! That white station wagon is about to photobomb you guys. I used photographic images for the backdrop of the display windows. Pretty much like texture images to 3D models. It's only reasonable because I'm someone with a mindset of a graphical world. Semicolon. Capital P. The canal walk is a neat landscape feature alright, but both ends of the walk are dead end. Unless you are there for an exercise, you can't go across the canal from there. So where's he going? He ain't look he's up for an exercise. After all those years, logic holes have begun surfacing. It seems it's grown into the canal. Better leave it be as not to make things further worse. This angle reminds me of a picture I took on film for a photography assignment in college. I wonder how younger generations think that people used to buy films where images were stored but couldn't be deleted, which made the film unreusable. And then it would cost to have the film developed just to retrieve the images to impractically readable state, and then it would also cost to have the images. There's a lovely old couple followed by she say doll stare. And then it would also cost to have the images extracted on paper. Sounds like fun. The waterfall is a little bit flat and stiff, but hey, it's the internet's fault. There weren't many how-to-video tutorials 20 years ago. The bushes and trees are interfering with the drone's flying path. I'm pointing this out as if it weren't already jiggling anywhere else. This is another adorable corner for kids. Unlike the restaurant scenario, I don't know anyone working for Stab Barkers, but the old logo is another site of nostalgia. Here comes a guy straight from a pyramid. That dude in gray somehow has a con man vibe on him, and that lady's trying to avoid him while a nearby authority is closely, literally, monitoring the scene unfolding. Many detailed decors are necklace pendants including the train monument. The building kits came with hand-drawn curtains and signages. I created my own photorealistic curtains, window backdrops, and various shop identities except for a few real brands of personal preference. It's ironic that with all the efforts on everything else, I was being cheap, printing my own brick texture on regular paper for tiles and walls instead of using plastic textured sheets. Overall, I was, and still am, satisfied with this diorama. Upon a brief exam, I think the reason trains can't run smoothly is due to poor ballast implementation. One design flaw. If a short train gets stuck in the tunnel, it's very hard to get it out without a rescue access on the side. Still, I love this particular area with many landscape features packed in such a small part of the diorama. Time to put everything back. The fallen parts will have to wait for the next revisit to be restored. I have a habit of marking down the year when I take a close look at older works. Glad my relative has kept it for years. If possible, I may remaster this diorama with an up-to-date, modern look, just like my plan with this Eastern City piece. But I don't know when.